You're such an asshole.
Now, you might be saying, why are you doing a video on the non-financial considerations of purchasing housing in Australia, in this particular case, Sydney? And you would say, aren't you the economist and the finance guy? You should have the answers to this. And the answer is that I would love to, but now we got to do Australia math, which includes fortnight and the metric system and pence width and dangly dooglies and Lord knows whatever else. And with their Melbins and their Sydney bins and their Adelaide bins, it's all very confusing. And then also, I cannot provide financial advice. It's one of the few things I cannot provide. Could I get sued in Australia? I don't know. Maybe not, but I generally don't. And here's the simple reason why. I can't. No one can. Even the licensed financial advisors can't, because no one can predict anything. I can't predict the future. I don't know what the future is. And it's a very similar question we have here in the United States. I get a lot of you send me all this information, like I'm going to go look at your balance sheet. And I'm going to spread this financial statement up, and I'm going to do the work a financial planner does, which if I were, you're talking thousands of dollars. And the finances are one thing. You got to talk to a licensed financial expert on that. But when it comes to housing, as it is in here in the United States, I would also say in Australia, more than half the decision is not financial. It's timing. It is not, should I buy this house? The question is, should you be buying a house? Are you at the point in life that you should be buying a house? And if you are, then you follow up with the financial questions, which I am not licensed or capable or willing to answer. So I could kind of tell you, yeah, it makes sense now that you should be in the market for housing. As to whether you buy that house or that house, I don't know. And I sure as hell ain't flying across the country to go to Sydney bin with their kilometers and their programmies calculating what the interest is on a fortnight. They don't have 30-year mortgages. They got this floating mortgage dankly wankly thing going on. So let's go through it. Hi, Aaron. I get the original one. Hey, Cappy, I'd like to seek your opinion on what's probably the most important financial decision I'll make. I will not advise the financial decision. It is, okay, this is the second most important financial decision you make. The most important one will be whether you're going to get married or not. And you'll find out while it's financial soon enough. Do I keep renting or do I buy a place I have my eye on? I tend to be politically conservative and hate being in debt. However, that will probably mean I will need to rent forever. I have my own opinions, but I will keep them to myself and not bias yours. Please keep the information in square brackets anonymous. All figures. What? Now you tell me you don't want me to let it. No, you're in Australia. I'm not going to hide the fact that you're Australia, because now you're making me doing things in metric and bins. No one's going to guess who you are. Okay, you're in Oz. Family lives there. You don't want to. You're a younger man. Single, never married, no kid. Not holding my breath on a lady either. Well, right, I'll tell you right now. I mean, if you're not getting married, not having kids, you could afford a lot more housing. Just saying. Balance sheet. Well, why are you telling me all this information and then putting it in brackets? Everything is in brackets. Okay, I got to go through this. You have some down payment money. You have a retirement fund. You have stuff outside the retirement fund. You are debt free. So far, like, if there's a person who's qualified to buy a house, it would be you. Your monthly income before tax, after tax. Let's convert this to Australian. You are in a very good professional firm. Hang on. What's AUD to USD? I want to know how much fund. Oh, wow. Point. Do you remember Ron? Was it Ron Howard or John Howard? Who is your prime minister where Australia was on parity with the US dollar? Oh, look at this. 64 cents. Wow. So 0.64. God almighty, 0.64. times that. Let's do 10,000 right there. Times. All right, you're very handsomely compensated. For those of you in the United States, he makes well over 100,000, well over 100,000 US dollars in a field that's very good. He has a legitimate background. He has a master's in a very interesting field, 4.0 GPA, 4.0 GPA. You currently live in a one-bedroom condo, a certain amount a week in rent. Thank you for converting it to a week and not a fortnight. Severe housing shortage in a major leftist crap hole of Australia. I won't say one, and it totally has nothing to do with the building that I put up on the what's it called? Thumbnail. Rent will no doubt be jacked in 2024. Not as nice as a place as below alternative. I'm considering this property. Below. Let's take a look here. Wow. That's a hell of a view, buddy. I think that's a condo. 670,000 Australian. I hope to purchase it at this, meaning this kind of mortgage. Look, buddy, no one knows who you are. You hide all the data. Current interest rate 6%, meaning the payment. You don't want me to tell the payment. Who's going to care? He doesn't want me to tell. No, I have to tell the payment. Your payment is $811 per week. I'm just doing the math. I have to do the math. 811 times 4.333. Okay, so you're paying 35. That would be principal in it. All right, so you're paying 3,500 Australian per month compared to clear 4.333 times 470. 2,000. All right, so you're paying $1,500 a month more. Mortgage 30-year term floating rate. Unfortunately, no 30-year mortgage rates there. I saw that the housing prices are going down in Australia now, so that's good. Maybe you're slowly coming out of a buying market. Floating rate tied to the federal funds rate, and the wankly danklies. I reckon interest rates will fall in the future, but then again, who really knows? No one knows. I don't know. You don't know. Your interest rates could go up. They could go down. I don't know what strata is. Other costs on the billing. Oh. How can I not tell this? Okay. You're about to, okay, I got to tell this, buddy. You're about to you're the property you're looking at is a condo, and it's in a building that is currently suing the builders to rectify because there's a problem with it. No. What? You don't even know what your assessments are. Now, I don't know what they call assessments over in the land of Oz. All right. But the assessments is what the HOA, Homeowners Association, or I guess your owners corporation is what you guys call it down there. What is that assessment going to be? You don't know what that's going to be. Still trying to figure it out. The extent of the defect. Potential red flag? No, that's not a potential red flag. That is a huge red flag. That town is where all the jobs in your field are. The real estate sucks. Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba. All right, so then I ask you the questions, all right? None of that answers. None of it answers whether you should be looking at a house right now. Okay? Me personally, I mean, well, let's go over the questions I asked. We'll go over the information you gave me, and then I'll kind of run you through my thought process, all right? You can include your general thoughts on what the F is going on in the market in Sydney. I don't know. I'm not paid enough to watch the market in Sydney. It looks like it's going down a little bit, which is good. My thoughts are it is similar to Canada with the dumb fuck politicians from all sides deciding to overload Sydney with migrants but not building the housing required. And don't forget the money. Don't forget all that money they flood. Money solves all problems. Thanks for your video, blah, blah, blah. And I said, also tell me about where you are in life. Are you planning on being in your profession for the foreseeable future? Do you plan on living there for 10 years? Why aren't you just crashing with your parents to save up the money to buy one for cash? Do you want a kids and a family? And he says, here's a responses. Hang on. Losing my voice. Are you planning to be in your field and profession for the foreseeable future? And you say, looking at a job that pays more, but being the thing that I currently am now is a solid backup. I'm strongly considering making the jump to becoming working in the financial industry. This is not a dude bro spinster job that it may sound like you. I know a few good people in my field that have made the jump and make over 500,000 a year. During a good year could be 1 million plus. Job requires you perform and be technically skillful. I believe I have the intellect required, and you do with your 2 degrees. If I stayed in my current profession, the pay would slowly climb to 300,000, but over time, I believe have to comparative exercise more cocksucking skills as my field is bureaucratic. Okay, so as long as that's a good solid backup, that's good. Let me do this. 150. Hang on. 10. I'm just doing some math. In a couple of years' time, you'd be making more than that. Let's say make 12,500 Oz per month take home times 12 gives you 150,000 divided by 12. Well, I'll just do divided. I just went back to the number I was calculating. All right, so 3,500. So right now, let's say if your current income is 10,000 take home pay, this mortgage would the one that you gave me, the mortgage would be 3,500 a month. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Here in the States that you want to have your housing be 35% or less per month for lodging. This is exactly at 35%. Your income is only going to go up. So, based on traditional measures, you can afford a house like the one you were looking at. It may not be that house you want to buy because of its problems, but yeah, you could afford a $650,000 house at current interest rates. Do you plan on living there for 10 years? Yes. Okay. So here's another very key critical thing. If I don't know, well, then you shouldn't be buying a house. The fact you're going to be there for 10 years, yeah, okay. Now, after 10 years, maybe 20 or 30, you got to think more long term things like wasting your money on rent, not building up equity in a home. Also, housing inflation. Do I know what the Bank of Australia is going to do with the hankily wankalies and the flippity floppities? No, I do not. I don't know what's going to happen to your Australian dollar. But generally, what we've seen Western nations do is print off more money. And now, housing doesn't always go up, as you know. Right? We just went through a housing crisis, 2007, 2008. I think even in Australia, the houses tanked a little. There's a little dent. There was like a month prices didn't go up. But if you're there 10 years, this is kind of a problem that the younger generation faces. If you didn't get into housing beforehand, now it's almost cost prohibitive. And I got another guy who wants me to take a look at Canadian housing prices, where just a small percentage of the Canadian population compared to, say, 1983 can afford housing. So there's also an argument that, look, if you know you're going to be there for a while, are you going to hit the bottom of the market? Are you going to get the best pricing? Probably not. Houses do go up and down. Looks like it's on a downward trend right now. I don't know how far down it's going to go. But if you hold on for it for 10 years, okay, it might go down, but it might be up. If you're going to hold it for longer than that, now you're not 20 years. 20 years, you're going to lose all that rent. If you ever stay at the same place and you keep paying the interest and principal on this in 20 years, you will not, it's not a guarantee. It is not a guarantee. But you are lessening your risk losing against housing inflation. So you could sell your place and move, and now you can always afford a house because you bought a house early. That's what I did. I bought a house when I was 24. There's been a lot of housing inflation in the United States above and beyond regular inflation. And for the most part, if I had rented up until now, I would barely be able to afford the average price home in the United States, which was 400,000 US. I could barely afford it. The only reason I can afford a house that I have today, which is a little bit less actually than it, is because I've built up equity all this time, and my mortgage is a fraction of what it would be if I bought it for the first time. So you can afford it. You plan on being there a long time. So far, these are like green check boxes of yes, you are in the market for a house. Maybe not this one at this moment in time, but yes, you are. And long term, you would be hedging against, in theory, future housing inflation. And mathematically, if you stay there long enough, you would probably be building up some equity in this home and, quote, not wasting rent. Why aren't you just crashing with your parents to save up money and buy one for cash? My parents charged me rent the day I graduated from university. Their philosophy has always been hard work and not to give me a free ride. Right. I get it. I understand. But man, rent is a pissing away of money nowadays, especially in Oz. And I've changed my opinion on this. Rent has gotten out of control so much. Well, because we're just going to vote to free more money and low interest rates. Yay, Obama. I know Obama wasn't your guy. Give us the free money for college. And then it floated into the economy, made into the banking system, and then the interest rates were lowered. And then all of a sudden, all this money was focused like a laser beam on housing. And why can't I afford a home? And so I've changed my opinion. I'm like, yeah, rent's really high. That's stupid. That could cripple your life. I could probably live free for now, but I am too used to the freedom of not giving a fuck what my parents think. All right, so you're not going back home. Ironically, I would have a fat inheritance when they pass away. Well, let's not plan on that. Let's just hope your parents stick around for a while. Do you want kids and family? Yes, but I've read a certain book that analyzes the ROI in the pursuit of women. Where would that be found? I also have a lot to lose, so the vetting process is extra rigorous. Australia has common law marriage, so having a child probably means you are married. Yeah. Well, no, but okay, so no kids until you're married, obviously. I would say no marriage. And that's just too bad. So Australia, all of Australia is common law, huh? Like if the girl's living with you, too bad. Bye. Bye. You're going to live in your house over there. I'm going to live in my house over here. And we're dating forever. All right. So those legal risks aside, yeah, you want to have kids and a family. Okay, be real careful with that in Australia. Start looking into trusts or shanky bangs, as you call them down there in Australia. You guys think I don't know what Australians talk like? Oh, yeah, shaky bangs. That's what they get. Those called trusts. So get yourself a shanky bang or whatever legal protections you got to do to protect your house and your assets if you do get married. I don't know if there is mercenary down there in Australia for divorce. And yeah, that's just a risk you're going to have to take. But all right, so you want to have a kids and a family. Yeah, you're in the market for a house for all the reasons. You got a great job, great career, great upside potential. With your current salary, you can afford it at current interest rates. The one house you were looking at. Since you're going to be there for a while, you might as well start early now, get in. Prices could go down, yeah. But you're going to start saving up some of that rent money otherwise and hedge against inflation down the road when the time comes. Let's say you get a wife and a kid. So let's say you're going to buy a condo. Looks like you're going to buy a condo. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. And then let's say you want to ignore the risk of common law marriage. Let's you have her sign something that says, "We are not married. You are a roommate." The girl of your dreams can be your roommate and live with you in the condo and pay rent. All right. You remember, go talk to an Australian marriage lawyer. until the kid comes along. All right. So it's going to be at least 4 years until you find a quality woman, at least that. I can't predict that, but I'm just going to guess. That's with hard work. There's going to be a honeymoon period. Then 3 to 5 years, she's going to want to have a kid. So you're looking at 7 to 9 years, kids are out. All right. So a condo would probably make a really good uh, uh, living situation or type of housing for you because you're single now. You don't need that much room. It allows you to build up equity. It allows you to keep up with housing inflation. Then you get yourself a girlfriend that you love and cherish and hold, except you don't put a ring on the finger. You talk to a marriage lawyer down in Australia. You have her sign the contract. You make her pay rent. She can live in the condo now with you, and you're not legally married and da 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 da. Then, when she says, I would like to have children now, which would be about 7 to 9 years from now, I forecast. Then you take all the equity you built up in your little condo, and now you can actually, presuming they print off more money and they let more immigrants in without building more housing, your condo should have caught up with or kept up with inflation so that when you cash out, you now have purchasing power by which to buy a house that you could house your wife and say 2 or 3 kids or however many kids you want to have. All right. But this presumes you hold the house long term. This presumes you're not going to move out and do something or flip it, bro, or whatever. But yes, you're in the market for a house. And long term, I think, yes, it would end up being in your financial benefit to do so, which I cannot guarantee. As for which house you buy, can't touch that with a 10-foot pole. I can't go look at the darn thing, man. All I can say is that, like, yeah, you should be in the market for a house. You would be the one. You're a qualified candidate to be in the housing market. So yeah, I would go and look around. I think you had the right idea with this condo, but preferably not one with a pending lawsuit, an unknown. I don't even know how they could put a price. That's what scares me the most. They have put a price on that condo, but they don't even know what the damage assessment is, what the costs are to fix that thing. I don't know how you could price anything like that if you don't know what the costs are. So I would no, absolutely not. But I mean, if you want to take the risk, go ahead. All right, there you go. I have spoken. We got 2 super chats. Keon, $2. Why are you awake right now? As I'm awake, I gotta get the work done. Look, it's 11:30. It's not like I'm some 80-year-old, curmudgeon. I'm not Rollo Tomasi. I could stay up late, god damn it. And I have good internet now, and the work's got to get done. You want to see late? You should have seen me when I was half my age I am now. You should have seen me when I was 19. I'd wake up at 9 p.m. and go to work till 5 a.m. I saw more night than I did daytime for 4 years. Red Alpha, 2 euros. Guten Morgen, Kevin. Guten Morgen, Herr Alpha. Was ist los? Wo ist die schönes Fräuleins? Das ist richtig. Ich habe ein Auto. Ja. Hey, Uncle Hector. What's going on, man? Uncle Hector's the one who did the first marriage case number 1. Can you tell me a bedtime story, Cappy? All right. There once was a curmudgeonly 48-year-old dude who escaped a Marxist shithole where all the white people hated each other and was called Tinnesota. And after escaping there, he went to a place called Louth Sakota. No, Douth Sakota. That's where he went. And then there was a long lost tribe of Amazonian tig-bitted redheads. And they saw him. They said, "Make us your king. We want to make you the king, and impregnate us all. But we won't come after you for child support or anything like that. And then we'll raise your kids. You'll never have to see them." I'm like, "Oh, that's fine by me." And they held to their promise, and it was the best American Christmas story time ever. The end. Wasn't that fun, boys and girls? I like the part where they held up their end of the bargain. I like the whole no responsibility. and they had held up their end of the bargain. Gus for $2. How'd you actually get into banking? I got into it because I wanted to do economics first, but economics really, you had to get a master's or a doctorate, and it wasn't really practical. So I switched to finance. I should have switched to accounting. But when I switched to finance, that allows you to do underwriting and analysis and lending and things like that, which is one of the worst sectors of the economy to get into. And that's how I got into it. I interned first. I interned when I was 19 years old. And if someone had said, yeah, this is what it's like, this is what it will be, I would have switched majors right back to nuclear engineering. And, well, I never was a nuclear engineer, but I would have switched to nuclear engineering and said, F that. But that's how I got into banking. And it was like a practical way to help people through economics. Back when I cared about helping people. Now, fuck people. Fuck them. Just fuck them up the ass. Because none of them deserve jack fuck all shit. If it's a little innocent kid or an old grandma lady, okay. But pretty much everybody else, you get some, nah, they're a prick. They're an asshole. Are we in the United States? Yeah, F people. All right, that's it. I'll see you guys later. Toodles.